हेलो दोस्तों। पिछले हफ्ते जॉन इब्राहिम की अटैक नाम की फिल्म रिलीज हुई। हालांकि इस फिल्म का नाम अटैक है, लेकिन इस फिल्म पे ही अटैक हुआ और वो भी एसएस राजामौली की आरआरआर फिल्म के द्वारा। इसका नतीजा ये हुआ कि अटैक ने पहले हफ्ते में सिर्फ तकरीबन 14 करोड़ का बिजनेस किया और दूसरी तरफ रामचरण और जूनियर एनटीआर की आरआरआर के हिंदी वर्जन ने 2 हफ्ते में 206 करोड़ की तगड़ी कमाई की है। एक और आयरनी की बात यह है कि जयंतीलाल गड़ा इज वन ऑफ द प्रोड्यूसर्स ऑफ बोथ द फिल्म्स। लेकिन आज हमारे पॉडकास्ट सिनेमा के 27th एपिसोड में मैं आपका होस्ट केयूर बात करने वाला हूँ वेटरन एक्टर जितेंद्र जी के बारे में। ही रिसेंटली टर्न्ड 80 ऑन 7th अप्रैल। यस, टाइम फ्लाइज लाइक एनीथिंग। उन्होंने नवरंग फिल्म से अपने फिल्मी करियर की शुरुआत की और आज तक उन्होंने 200 से भी ज्यादा फिल्मों में काम किया है। तो जितेंद्र जी पे बात करने के लिए आज मेरे साथ है सिनेस्तान.com की डेप्यूटी एडिटर सोनल पंड्या। वेलकम टू द शो सोनल।
Hi, Keyur.
Hi. So recently when Jeetendra turned 80, you did a song listicle on him. So tell us about it. What all songs have you selected and what was the listicle about? We'll ask, I think our readers should also go and have a look at on our site. So you can give a good insight into it.
Yeah, it was lovely choosing the songs for the list because there are quite a few memorable melodic songs in Jeetendra's career, and a number of them were actually composed by Lakshmikant Pyarelal, I found. Going back to his first breakout hit was Farz in 1967 when he played the secret agent. And it was from there on that he, broke through and became known as a dancing star as well. He was nicknamed Jumping Jack.
Yes.
And he usually wore a whole white outfit, complete with white shoes. And it remained immaculately white even in the song sequences.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really interesting that, Jeetendra got his big break thanks to V. Shantaram.
Yeah, I was about to mention that. I mean, what a filmmaker to start your first film with.
Yeah, his family, Jeetendra's family, used to supply artificial jewelry to Shantaram for his films to be used. So through that connection, because his father knew Shantaram, he was able to get through and he played a small little part in Navrang, but then later on he was able to get a bigger role in another film.
True. So, and also one interesting thing I have seen in Jitendra's career is that these days we speak a lot about South remakes. I mean, a lot of actors are doing South remakes, but he did it well during the 70s and the 80s, and he did a lot of South remakes in his career.
It's amazing that over his career, like 6 decades, he's done about 75 remakes of South films. And he never had any compunction that he didn't want to do it. In fact, he became known as the actor who would be usually starring in these kind of remakes. And in the 80s, I would say that every third or fourth film was Jeetendra in a remake. At that time, he was being paired with, actresses like Jaya Prada and Sridevi, who were often reprising their own roles from the Telugu and the Tamil films that they had originally starred in. Yeah. So in this way, they also broke through the Hindi film industry thanks to him.
Okay, yeah, this reminds me, his film Himmatwala did very well at the box office when it had released in the 80s. Because I remember Sajid Khan had remade that film in 2012 and he had said that when the film had released, they used to regularly visit the theatre again and again to watch that film. And he and Ajay Devgan who played Jeetendra's character in the remake. So when they were college kids, they used to watch this movie again and again, and he said they have seen the film 36 times. This is crazy.
Wow.
I mean, I have seen the DDLJ 8 or 10 times, and I feel wow, I have done a lot. But these people have a huge achievements, much more.
Yeah. Actually, when you see both the songs, Naino Mein Sapna song, you see the original and you see the recreated version. The recreated version looks more garish in comparison.
Yeah, of course.
The 80s one has, in fact, dated well because it is that kitschy type of, filmmaking that was popular during that time. But the performances, the dances, the expressions, the way that the whole thing was choreographed, that's what stayed through. And when you try to recapture that, even, like ironically or trying to pay a tribute to them, it didn't work in the 2013 Himmatwala.
Right. And another trivia which I can remember right now is that in a film called Love Kush, which released in 1997, in that film Jeetendra played Lord Ram, and you would be surprised to know who played Lakshman in that film. It was Arun Govil, the same actor who is worshipped as Lord Ram because he played that character in the serial Ramanand Sagar's show.
Right.
Yeah, so I was once talking to Arun Govil for an interview, and he said that they approached him to play Lakshman, and while Jeetendra was playing Ram. So initially Arun Govil completely refused the film. He said that my character is known as Ram, people worship me as Ram, my image is so strong, so how can you ask me to play Lakshman? But they said, no, you should play. This guy kept saying it will never work. But the producers were very adamant, and since Arun Govil had good relations with them, he just went ahead and did the film. He played Lakshman, Jeetendra played Ram, and the film really bombed at the box office. So people couldn't accept Arun Govil as Lakshman. So these are some really interesting insights which the readers would find on our website, cinestan.com, if they search Arun Govil's name. So yeah,
that's an interesting casting flip over there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But, Jeetendra, he's had such a long career, but his children have taken his legacy forward, I feel.
Yeah.
Ekta Kapoor is big name producer both in films and in television, and his son was an actor for a brief while as well.
Right, yeah.
And recently also, I believe Jeetendra has had an appearance in a web series as well that you saw.
Yes. I saw the second season of Apharan on Woot Select, and he appears right at the end. And what happened was when he comes on the screen, when he came on the screen, I felt this guy looks like Jeetendra. And then when the camera zooms on him, and I said, oh, ye to Jeetendra hi hai. And I was completely surprised because I never expected him to appear in a show like Apparan in this way. So that was a big surprise. Now, we need to see if he is a part of season 3, because generally what happens is an actor who makes an appearance at the end of a season, he gets a meatier role to play in the next season. So going by the way Apparan 2 ended, I'm quite sure that Jeetendra has a much bigger role in season 3. Let's see.
Yeah, there are, Mithun Chakravarti was recently in Bestseller, which was an Amazon Prime web series. You never know, maybe Jeetendra could be coming back through web series next. And that's also in his daughter's production.
Yeah. So it was nice speaking about Jeetendra ji. He has had a very good career and very interesting career. So here's wishing him a very happy birthday.
Yes, happy 80th.
Yeah, so now moving on to the films and series which released this week. And I also know you saw this movie called Dasvi, which stars Abhishek Bachchan, Yami Gautam and Nimrat Kaur. And you reviewed the film for cinestan.com. So what is your take on the film?
Well, before I started the movie, the concept was very interesting. That of a politician going to jail and sitting for his 10th board exams. And then, of course, there is the mystery. Will he pass or won't he pass? So there is that comedic angle to it. And of course, there is also a little bit of the seriousness to it. Because education is something that, everyone should take seriously. And of course, in India, it is taken very, very seriously. But I'm saying the comedic part was also heightened, I felt, in the trailer.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, watching the film, there were parts of the film that were dragged too much so, getting to the point of the storyline. In half an hour, everything he's in jail. He decides he's going to go sit for his exams, and he goes up against this very strict superintendent played by Yami Gautam. And he puts his wife, Bimla Devi, who is Nimrat Kaur, in his seat as chief minister instead.
Achha.
And then you have his studies. And the studies portion of it takes such a long time, and there are so many other side plots that come in. It just feels very exhausting. And what you felt would happen doesn't, and then in the last, half hour, everything has to be rushed because obviously you want to end the movie. So it felt unfortunate at that point, but I felt Abhishek Bachchan was trying to get into the skin of his rural character, politician from the north. But unfortunately, the characters of Yami Gautam and Nimrat Kaur, they suffered a bit because of this.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of things are implied, but then you don't get to see it.
Right.
You see that Nimrat is enjoying her post as the new CM and she's beginning to enjoy her power. But what work does she actually do? We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Yami Gautam's character, the superintendent, she's so against Abhishek's character in the beginning. But then she has a change of heart and then she starts to tutor him in Hindi as well. And he suddenly has learning disability and how she helps him to read Hindi and to get ready for his exams. That also happens.
Oh,
but
okay.
It's just the way in which it's done. It's too many montages, too much explained, too much not explained. It just doesn't work. It's just exhausting. Like the movie feels longer than it actually is, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Sad to know because I am an Abhishek Bachchan fan, as you know.
Yeah, I do. I do know that you are one. I was actually hoping that this would turn out to be like a better film. So I was disappointed that it didn't go as well as it would have on paper because the concept is right there, a politician learning to become better through education.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I also reviewed something this week. I saw Abhay season 3. You must have heard.
Yes. It's starring Kunal Kemu, right?
In the lead, yeah. It is the third season of the show. And I found this season quite average. And I had the same view for the first 2 seasons as well. So I have a problem with season 3 because I think if you are coming up with another season, then you shouldn't repeat the same thing that you have been showing in the first 2 seasons. And unfortunately, that is what happens here. The show is visually very appealing because of the camera work and color grading, and I also like the background score. But the problem is that it shows the same set of people solving crimes in the same manner. So this was somewhere okay till the second season, but they have done the same thing in the third season as well. So I don't think that's a good idea.
So you think that it doesn't warrant a third season at all?
No, there was no need. I mean, if you are going to show the same thing that you have shown in the first 2 seasons, which were just average. So what is the need to make the same, say, another season in the same way? So that is what something I was disappointed with. But I liked Kunal Kemu's acting. He appears like a mature actor who speaks through his expressions and all. But even here, his character right from the first season has been that of an introvert, of a quiet man who doesn't show much emotions and doesn't show any excitement. So he has been doing the same thing from the first season. So now in this third season, it becomes too much. And at times you start feeling bored by this person. He appears boring. So yeah, I wasn't happy with the show. And although Kunal Kemu has acted well, I feel his character really makes you feel bored watching it for the third time in a row. Yeah.
So do you think they'll have a fourth season going ahead? Does it end that way?
It doesn't exactly end that way. They haven't given any major indication at the end of the last episode. So I don't think there will be another season. This is what I feel after watching the finale. So I hope there isn't any. And in case they are coming up with the fourth one, they need to have some major changes.
Yeah, maybe the lead character needs to have some kind of growth.
Yes, he needs to change in some way because it won't be good to see him for the fourth time in the fourth season doing the same things and going through the character without any emotions or excitement. Yeah. तो ये थी इस हफ्ते रिलीज हुई फिल्में और वेब सीरीज की बात. अगले हफ्ते हम फिर हाजिर होंगे किसी और फिल्म के जुड़े हुए मुद्दे को लेकर. तब तक सुनते रहिए सिनेमा.
अगर आपको ये पॉडकास्ट पसंद आया तो लाइक, सब्सक्राइब और शेयर जरूर कीजिएगा. अपने कमेंट्स cinestan.com के YouTube चैनल पर भी छोड़ सकते हैं. Keep listening till next time.